5 days from now, he's gonna marry. He's hoping you can make it there if you can, cause in the ceremony you'll be the best man. You say Nito, check your libido.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Glee. Thank you for your patience. We appreciate it. It's a pleasure to introduce the chairman of the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, Mr. John Schaffner.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Whoa. So the first thing I have to ask is, I don't know which to ask. How many people are not members of the Television Academy who are here tonight? Raise your hand. Wow, we have a lot of lovely guests. Now, I guess they're all members of the Television Academy who brought you, right? Thank you. Welcome to an evening with Glee. We call this a television activities entertainment event. Now, maybe I should just say welcome to an evening with Glee, a television phenomenon. You know, this is my teleprompter. I know, it's really dumb. I have been asked, how does the activities committee here at the Television Academy select the programs that we salute at these An Evening With events, an evening with entertainment events? Well, first of all, they need to be on television. What is that these days? Well, as chairman of the Television Academy, I'm not going to answer that right now. But in the process, there's always a level of subjectivity about why do we choose programs that we bring all of you here into our theater. Why do we choose these? Well, curiosity is what drives us because we want to know what's going on behind the scenes. What makes these programs tick? Okay, the teleprompter has to turn a page here. I'm sorry. Clumsy. It's a teleprompter person is bad. But you know, our curiosity is aroused because of programs, because they're original, they're different, and I think in this show we could say a little audacious. But it's be curious because, oh my God, we are so curious. This is a show that the audience has embraced. It is huge. Glee is a phenomenon. The show has aired first on May 19th after American Idol. So we know they had a great lead-in audience. Okay, great. So then we all wait and see. Then it went into its run in the fall, and it continued to build and build and build. So, you know, we're all falling in love, because I assume that you're all fans like I am, with the concept, the story, the cast. Personally, I missed episodes, and I had a lot of trouble downloading them or buying them from whatever it is you buy things on. And so I actually drove to the store and bought the DVD, and Joe and I watched, you know, the entire thing in 3 sittings, and we're completely trapped by this program. Well, and then it went away. All of us were like, what happened? Where did Glee go? It's off the air for like nearly 4 months. And then it comes back 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago tomorrow was the first return episode. All right. This is unbelievable. The audience, the American audience, has been waiting for this. The numbers were enormous. You have to understand, in that week, it was the #1 scripted show on television. It was the #2 most watched show on television, except for American Idol. But it is unbelievable that a scripted, prepared program reached, you know, numbers of this. It's amazingly successful. Now, you know, many of us in this room, especially those of you who are guests of Academy members, we would like to hope that the Academy members have worked on a lot of shows. But this is the kind of audience connection to a program that is really uncommon, to say the least. So tonight, the reason that we are gathered together is to try to find out a little bit about how did they do this. How is this team of creators, performers, this amazingly talented, beautifully cast, extraordinarily talented people, and all of the other artists. I mean, you have to think about the program as a whole, and all of their production values, the costumes, the scenery, the lighting, all the work that goes into this has reached a level of connection with the American audience that's absolutely amazing. So I want to warn you that they're all here tonight. But before we get to meet everybody, I think we are so lucky. Tonight we're going to see the sneak preview of tomorrow night's show. So I'm letting the job of introducing everybody by name, after especially I read all the names, is that I can't pronounce that. I'm going to leave that to someone who's much better at that than I am. And that will be Kristen Dos Santos. She is the TV insider for E! News and E! Online, and I've just met her backstage, and she's a lovely woman, and she's going to be here this evening moderating. So a big thank you to her. And a big thank you to our panelists. She's going to read all those names because I'm a little terrified. But now part of the thing that I need to do as chairman of your Television Academy is to remind all of us that this is the work that's done by volunteers. And Ray Procia, our entertainment co-chair, and the entire committee of the activities committee, this is a great group of people. And where is our favorite person in the world, Rocky Chatfield, who is the mother of the television activities and one of the national treasures. So I have to remind you that this really is a volunteer organization and depends on the work of our volunteer leadership. And we also have to thank our wonderful Activities Department Director, Robert O'Donnell, and the Manager of Activities, Melissa Brown, because these things are really complicated. And then, of course, we have to thank our sponsors, because let me tell you, it isn't just the dues and the Emmys that pay the bills that keep us in the yummies. It's also our sponsors, and tonight, Beaulieu Vineyards and Grey Goose Vodka. Thank you, Grey Goose. Are very good. Now, this is kind of a weird conversation. Also, I want to say it has been already announced that we are really excited that the Television Academy Honors will be recognizing Glee as one of the 8 outstanding programs of 2009. And this is for what we describe at the Television Academy, and the Television Academy Honors is television with a conscience. And trust me, we have a whole separate speech on May 5th at the Beverly Hills Hotel given by a presenter with much more talent than I have who will explain why. But let me just say that among the many great, wonderful things about the show, it really has embraced the outsider in all of us and celebrates that diversity. But for tonight, let's just enjoy our sneak preview, and then let's learn a little bit about what makes this show tick. Or rather, I should say, what makes our hearts pound for this wonderful project. So please, ladies and gentlemen, Glee, episode, we haven't quite narrowed it down, 15 or 16, called Home. Welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you turn off your cell phones. Ladies and gentlemen, before I introduce your moderator, it is my honor to introduce Television Academy member, 2-time Emmy winner, and the director of the episode that you just watched, Mr. Paris Barkley. Please stand. 4th row. Yes, Paris. Woo-hoo! And now let's give it up for your moderator for the evening, resident TV insider for E! Entertainment and E! Online, Kristen Dos Santos.
Okay, so by round of applause, and P.S. the cast and producers are listening, how amazing was that episode? I think I scouted out a few of you who didn't cry, which means that you're such a super fan, you actually had your tear ducts removed like Sue Sylvester. You are my kind of fan, if that's the case. I am so honored to be here tonight. Glee is hands down my favorite show on television, and I know a lot of viewers as well. It's such a groundbreaking show, and we're here tonight to honor it. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our panelists tonight, starting with the woman you so want to bitch slap, and that's a very good thing, Miss Jessalyn Gilsing. And now is probably a good time to mention Jayma Mays, unfortunately, is the only cast member not here tonight because she is actually in Mrs. Schuster's trunk of her car or shooting the Smurfs movie in New York, which is actually the case. And up next, the girl who puts the lump in Bumpalicious, Diana Agron, who plays Quinn. Standing. Hi. Take a seat. We have the guy who does Neil Diamond, then dare I say it, better than Neil Diamond, Mr. Mark Salling. My favorite non-stutterer I've ever met, Miss Jenna Ushkowitz. The guy who wants you to know that it's all working, Mr. Kevin McHale. She totally should have her own show on Bravo or any network she wants, Amber Riley. And the guy whose windows no one will ever bust out of his car because he's so darn likable, Chris Colfer. I don't think there's anything I can ever say to do her justice as an introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, Jane Lynch. Thank you. TV's most lovable jock of all time. Yeah, you heard me, Greg Brady. Corey Monteith. The girl all the angels wish they sound like, Leah Michele. How great does she look, by the way? I love the new hair. Pretty adorable. Okay, and I thought I smelled cookies wafting from the ovens of little elves who lived in his hair. The amazing Matthew Morrison.
How you doing? Good, how are you?
I missed the 5, sorry. And now the geniuses behind the show, starting with Mr. Dante Di Loretto. Co-creator and executive producer and member of the Will Schuster Curly Hair Club for Men, Mr. Ian Brennan. Woo! And by the way, if things get slow tonight, Ian did promise to take his shirt off, so there's that. We have as well Mr. Brad Falchuk, who is a co-creator and executive producer. And by the way, some of my favorite people in this town are the producers on this show, and I have to say, even though Brad looks like he should be on camera, no, he's really behind the scenes. No, really, he is. And of course, I think you've heard of this guy, perhaps, executive producer and co-creator, Mr. Ryan Murphy.
I thought it was good luck. You wore the shirt.
All right, so for the producers, because we did just watch such an emotional episode, what I would love to know is, how do you go there without crossing the line into being cheesy? Because I think if this episode were to be described, and you're going to have these cheerleaders talk about how it's so much more important, what's on the inside as opposed to outside, it sounds like an after-school special, and you watch it, and it's so damn cool. How do you and how do you keep the cool factor in Glee?
Well, we're really cool.
I mean, we can see that right here.
Super.
I don't know. I mean, I think that the show is about two things that are so clear to us. I think the show is about the power and the need of the arts in our country. I think that's the main focus that we have. And I think the show is also about, the power of inclusion, and how the most different thing about you is ultimately the most beautiful thing about you and the best thing that you have to offer. And I think so many people have trouble dealing with that. I think it's very painful. I mean, when we think about that, before we come up with an episode like this, that idea really resonates. I mean, and we draw, from our personal lives, of course. I mean, the story, Chris Colfer's story with him and his dad is very much based on my relationship with my father and scenes that I actually had with my dad growing up. So, I mean, it's I think the more personal it is, the less cheesy it is.
Good answer. Now, Ian, I know this originated with a feature film script that you had done that was sort of a darker comedy. Is that correct? How different was it from what the show became?
Totally different. Okay. I think because my notion of I was in show choir in high school, and my experience of it was different. It's something that kind of stuck with me, and I could never kind of forgive myself for in a lot of ways. And it just stuck with me, and I was like, God, why has no one ever written about this? It's such a weird, such a strange world. And I think that of the three of us, that strangeness and the weirdness and the darkness and the cutting, that's always what I gravitate towards. And happily, that comes out a lot in the character of Sue Sylvester. It's helpful for me just for therapy, and also just of I think partially too, when we kind of can get our cake and eat it too, that you can have storylines that are very, very heartfelt and things that would seem very much like they're coming on on an ABC after school special, but but you can cut against it hard too, and I think that's what's helpful. And that was kind of such a surprise for me personally, when the three of us started writing together, that it became this whole other way more wonderful thing that just sings. It's so much. I mean, the three of us can do so many more things than I can do. So it's a wonderful little team.
Talking about Sue Sylvester, we learned in this episode that she hasn't had a solid meal since 1987. Mm-hmm. Jane, can you comment as to whether she's not actually a bad person? Is she just hungry?
Yeah, could be a blood sugar issue. Yeah, she's starving.
Maybe does anyone have a sandwich? Yeah. That could solve a lot of issues, I think, for Mr. Schuster if she were to just eat
have a little something to eat.
Yeah.
Like a cookie.
What is your take on Sue? And I mean, obviously, we've seen a softer side to her with her sister, and we've seen glimpses of that. But do you think that at the end of the day, is she a good person? Is she a bad person? Is she someone?
She's a warrior, and she always needs battle. And if there isn't one in front of her, she will create it. So that's why she keeps retreating to the "I will destroy that club," and they're not doing anything really to get in her way. But she will contrive it. She will, she needs an enemy. And she's chosen them. She's, focused her eyes on the Glee Club, and they get it.
Jane and Matthew, how are those scenes with all of the hair jokes? Because I think they are so outrageously funny.
Well, we found out last week that the reason she has such a problem with his hair is because she's jealous. Because she loves his lustrous light. And she should be. He puts Lubriderm in his hair. That's how he gets it like that.
What's in it now, though?
It's all
squirts of Lubriderm in his hair.
It's all fresh, natural berries and juices.
Yeah.
But Matthew, when you get those scripts and you see, oh man, more hair jokes, what do you think when you see
I love it. I think I'm such a fan of that storyline, the hair storyline, I guess.
Right.
But Will Schuster's going to get his revenge. Mm-hmm. We'll see that.
The audience
already did. Oh, last episode.
Oh, but you get more. You get even better revenge in a couple of episodes.
I like the Florence Henderson look that
you
got going on. Yeah.
I pay extra for that.
Matthew has a small trail of ants. You can't see it, but climbing up the back of his neck right now.
You should talk.
It's cute. I look like a hobo.
I don't think I'm giving too much away because you said this in an interview, but you said that Mr. Schuster might be putting the moves on Sue Sylvester. Is that a fair thing to say?
Well, the great thing about Matt is that he considers himself. We have nicknames for the cast, and Matt's nickname is always from the pilot on Triple Threat was his nickname, and he has always considered himself, which I find shocking but lovely, to be a dancer first. He says that's his favorite thing. So we wanted to write a scene where he just seduced Sue with dance to get her to leave him alone. So we do that in an upcoming episode. But it's the great fun thing about writing those two together is, first of all, the hair stuff is completely based on the fact that I'm obsessed and very jealous of Matt's hair myself. And we were talking about it in the writer's room, I'm like, why can't I have his hair? And that's where that came from. But the great thing about that episode is they're both so talented, and our favorite thing to do with Jane is to really show the bottom of that character. And in that episode, she kind of falls in love with Matt, and then we get to go inside her house for the first time where he has to go console her. And it's very moving the way she lives. And I know when we saw the house, we'll just tell you a little bit of a secret. It's wall-to-wall trophies. It's like an episode of Hoarders with trophies.
And you guys aren't going to tell anybody, right?
Yeah, don't tell anybody.
Right.
But when Jane and I saw it, we were like, oh, Sue's kind of sad. It's kind of sad. So we like doing stories that sound funny but have a bottom and a heart to them.
Can you talk about, there was a report recently that you might be doing a second Madonna episode. Is that true? And
well, I mean, the first one was so overwhelmingly successful against, none of us thought that it would touch a nerve, and I think that she's, I like to say that she's sort of our muse in some weird way. We love doing it. I can't speak for the cast, but I directed it. It was the most fun I've ever had on a soundstage.
Oh, yeah. You bet.
Just because, she really was the soundtrack of our lives in so many ways anyway, so she loved it. She absolutely loved the episode, and the next day, speaking to her and her people, they're like, well, we have a lot more songs. And, I said, well, you really do. And when Ian and Brad and I were writing it, we had so many more things that we wanted to put in there. At one point we had a erotica Justify My Love.
Oh, it was
mashup.
so good.
And we had to cut that. So I think if we would ever do a sequel to anything, we would do a sequel to her, and I think she would deserve it, just based on her body of work,
We had to cut it because we could only do 10 numbers in 8 days.
Slackers. So Leah, the number one question that I get asked is about a certain romantic pairing on this show. Do you have any guess as to what that coupling might be?
Well, Rachel has been fairly lucky in these 13 and the back 9. But we did have Jonathan Groff on the show.
Yeah.
I only know that because I did look at your notes when you were sitting down in the chair before you came on.
You're cheating.
Oh. But no, we had Jonathan on, who's my best friend in the whole world. I met Ryan Murphy through Jonathan when I was visiting on the set of his pilot that Ryan did with Jonathan called Pretty Handsome. And the fact that we have him on the show now, for me, is just awesome. And he's incredible. And Ryan wrote, what do you call it, a male diva?
What do we call
Amoeba?
it? Amoeba?
Yeah.
Amoeba.
And so it's Rachel's sort of first time that she gets to have someone that she kind of, not competes with, but, strives just as hard as she does.
Well, I think the Academy knows what couple I'm talking about because it's actually Finn and Rachel.
Oh, there you go.
Number one asked about.
Well, then I did some good PR for my good friend. He is with William Morris. And he just finished and is now out of a job. Thanks, guys. But Corey's great, too. He's real good. He's real good.
That's what you get for cheating on my notes.
Yeah, you guys picked the wrong notes, girl.
Corey, what can you tell us about Finn and Rachel as things stand?
Say something nice, even though I didn't talk to you before.
Okay. I've heard it put that it's a core relationship to the show, and I think that it's something that's going to, go the distance, and this is something that is going to be referred to throughout the season.
Nice. Nice. Chris, can you talk about this episode? I mean, it's such a big episode for you and for Amber as well. First of all, for both of you, how is it stepping into the Cheerios uniforms? Was that just crazy the first time you put it on? And what can you tell us about what it's like playing a Cheerio after being sort of nemesis to them for so long?
I think we were both excited to put on the uniforms for the first time. I definitely was, until I realized how it's not very flattering. And there are some paparazzi shots of me on set looking like Sasquatch walking around in it. But it's fun. It's nice to be on the top of the school.
It's good to be on top.
And Amber? I mean, this was such an emotional episode for you in particular. I mean, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was just, when I first read the script, Ryan Murphy text messaged me a minute before it even got to my door. He was like, "Did you like the script? Did you read it?" And when I first read it, it was so amazing. And rarely do I ever cry. And when I first saw it, I just got so emotional because it was so honest. And I cracked up seeing myself as a Cheerio.
With the high pony.
With the high pony. It was quite hilarious.
Diana, you mentioned tonight you were doing something very interesting today. Are you allowed to say what you were doing today?
Well, I was giving birth today to my baby, and what happened was we shot the pilot a couple of years ago now, and we came back and Ryan told me, "So you're going to be pregnant." And this is in the second episode back. And I said, amazing. This is awesome. And, you don't really think too far ahead of what's going to happen. And, the joy of this show and working together is there's so many surprising things that you're not just the cheerleader, you're not just the jock, you're not just, all these labels that people put on you. And today, was the last day of shooting for all of us. Feels very surreal because it seems like it came quickly, but we have been working diligently since January. And yeah, it's come full circle, and it's very strange that we've now finished our first season.
I think you've been pregnant for about 2 years. Did the baby come out walking and talking?
But they put a real baby on me today, and it was so sweet, and I didn't want them to take it away.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Tina and Artie, the fans want to know what's going on there. I mean, definitely one of the show's power couples. I know you two are close friends in real life. Do you root for them as a couple because you have that special connection behind the scenes?
I think I root just because it's so amazingly awkward when we do. No, it's like, Jenna, today we're going to make out and you're going to like it. I mean, I would say we're maybe the most awkward couple just because the lines we get, like, my penis still works, and I would get down on one knee if I could. But, I mean, I can't speak for Jenna. Hopefully you agree. But I love it. I love all our scenes together, and it's great because, we get to grow with each other and through our characters.
Yeah, the chemistry, I think, is rooted from a friendship. I think all of us have that, in each other. But to have Kevin as a scene partner, it's so wonderful to have episode after episode and be able to grow together and know how we work and, kind of form this crazy relationship and have our trials and tribulations. But, Tina gives it to him. She gave it to him last time.
It's so funny because in real life we have no drama at all. We're like the most chill people. Then on screen, we always have these weird issues. Who fakes a stutter?
Jessalyn, this is the first time we've seen you see Will this season. He's been kind of whoring it up a little bit. Are there any words that you'd like to share with him?
I just, the truth comes out. It always comes out.
What the heck does that mean?
You know what it means.
You don't know what you're talking about, woman.
What it means.
Now, at this point, we don't know if Terry knows that he has already made out with 2 women.
With everybody?
Is there anyone here who hasn't made out with Mr. Schuster tonight? There are a couple. He hasn't completely gotten around. But how do you think that she might respond to him moving on?
I think she'd be devastated. I mean, that's the thing that, it's been a long year for me, too. And I didn't even have a baby. But, I just feel like Terry, she's so misguided, but she loves him so much. She's just, everything that she did came from this fear of losing him. So to see him move on, I think would be the most painful thing to see.
Mark, can we talk about Puck and Quinn, please? Because obviously today should also be a big day for your character as well, Big Daddy.
You would think. Yes.
What can you tell us about the Puck and Quinn relationship and how you see it? Do you think he has deep feelings for her?
Yeah, I mean, as deep as he can.
Which is about this deep.
No, it's a little deeper than that.
Okay.
Hey.
Good night.
She'll tell you.
Out of line.
What are you talking about?
Oh. Wow.
Carry on.
Okay, yeah, moving on. He obviously wants to step up and be a decent father, and whether or not he'll get that opportunity, you'll have to tune in and find out. But I love working with Diana, and Puck and Quinn are great, but I think Mark and Diana are even better.
So I think we can all agree one of the things that makes the show so fantastic is the writing, and we have the writers here tonight. I think Glee, hands down, has some of the best one-liners anywhere on television. So I thought it might be fun to play a little game where we go through some of the best lines, and if you guys remember who wrote them.
Probably Ian.
Okay. And just as a test to the superfans, if you remember who said it, shout it out. Because I want to see, I'm testing all of you. Do you really watch the show, and do you remember?
We play too.
Okay. The first one, this is kind of a gimme. We'll do this first one. I want to be very clear. I still have use of my penis. Artie.
That was Brad.
That was Brad.
It's important to me that Artie had that. Me too.
Me too. Thanks for giving that to us.
Me too.
This was for you, Artie.
Out of all the things.
Okay, I don't know why I find his stupidity charming. I mean, he's cheating off of a girl who thinks the square root of 4 is rainbows.
Brad. 2 for 2.
Brad. Okay, and that was a Kurt line, obviously. I'm very versatile, and aside from nudity and the exploitation of animals, I'll pretty much do anything to break into the business. Rachel.
Ian wrote that.
I thought that was Ryan Murphy, but I don't know.
I'm going to give it to Brad.
Let's give it to Brad.
I don't know. I mean, we write them so
it's all
so
together.
Close.
It's hard to say.
Yep.
We know that Sue is pretty much Ian. I don't know. Keep going. This is fun.
Okay. I will go to the animal shelter and get you a kitty cat. I will let you fall in love with that kitty cat, and then on some dark, cold night, I will steal away into your home and punch you in the face.
That is
I'm out.
Brennan. You're Ian Brennan.
Literally, yeah, that's going on my gravestone.
Oh, that's right. It was more cruel.
It was
Dan
rewritten.
and I got mad.
It ended with, I will skin it in front of you.
Yeah,
Which,
Jane
see, is
said,
not
I
very
can't
funny
say
at all.
That, so.
That was my response. Ian always slips something in the first draft just to see if Fox is paying attention. Something just awful.
Now, in a case like that, do you say, "Oh, I'm not going to say"?
No, you
that?
did, and it made for a better joke. It was
And I like how it went, you kind of had to explain to me why it was still funny because I didn't.
Yeah, I was like,
get it.
actually, it's ironic.
Yeah. Oh, ironic, irony.
I don't actually. I don't like murdering pets either. But yeah.
You know, dolphins are just gay sharks.
Best one.
Mercedes is black. I'm gay. We make culture. Lindsay Lohan looks like something out of Lord of the Rings.
Brad. Is it you?
That's Brad.
I wish I had said it.
Yeah.
Who's Josh Groban? Kill yourself. He is an angel sent from heaven to deliver platinum records to us. And if you were here right now, I'd club you to death with this Critics' Choice Award.
Ian.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
that's your
Sandy.
Brennan right there.
Let's see here. I want a look that's so optimistic it could cure cancer.
That's Ryan.
I think yeah.
Okay. I have reasonable confidence that you will be adding revenge to the list of things you're not good at, right next to having a marriage, running a Glee club, and finding a hairstyle that doesn't make you look like a lesbian.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for that, Jim.
I never wanted kids. Don't have the time, don't have the uterus. You're about to board the Sue Sylvester Express. Destination horror.
That's the end.
And one of my favorites, last one. I don't trust a man with curly hair. I can't help but picturing birds laying sulfurous eggs in there, and I find it disgusting.
That's the end again.
That's pretty much all Ian,
that was
right?
my favorite Sue line, and it never fit in an episode, so we kind of wrote an entire scene around that.
So not to get too processy, but I think it's interesting for the fans to hear how the scripts do come about, because it seems to me that it is a very collaborative effort, and
every single word in those scripts is written by these three gentlemen. I mean, that's really remarkable, and particularly given the schedule that we're under.
When I first met you guys, you guys had just gotten back from Bali, where you were shooting the movie with Julia Roberts, Eat, Pray, Love, and your life sounded just so amazing. We're going to these 3 places with Ryan Murphy. In between, we're meeting up at Bar Marmont, where we break out stories, and I mean, it just sounds like a dream job, and that you guys have so much fun doing this. Can you tell us something that makes us hate you a little less? I mean, is it actually work? Or this is all just a ruse so you can get together?
There's like a couple of good hours of work a day in there.
Yep.
At least.
A whole hour?
Yeah.
A whole 60
No,
minutes?
it's great. I mean, the great thing about working with Ryan and is that he's just very quick with stuff. Is that he does the work of 10 writers. Is that we get together and Ryan comes up with a germ and we just start throwing out ideas and he takes all those ideas and makes this germ into this big virus that is the episode. It's just really quite amazing what he's able to do. And he and I have worked together for a long time, and so we have a real shorthand, and so we're able to. I'm very comfortable throwing out 50 ideas, and he's very comfortable telling me how much I suck, and I don't feel bad about it. Right. And then eventually we kind of come up with something that works. We joke that like the 3 of us make a really good writer. The 3 of us together make a really good writer.
Now, Brad, you and Ryan worked together on Nip Tuck before as well. How different is it working on this show? I mean, it is obviously such an entirely different animal.
It was funny today because I was shooting Diana giving birth, and she was brilliant today, truly. I'm surprised she's awake and up right now. She was unbelievable today. Wait till you see the scene, because I was convinced I was going to see baby come out of there.
And if it were Nip Tuck, the baby would have been black.
Well, yes, exactly. And so we had Linda Klein, who was the medical consultant on Nip Tuck, was on the set. And as we were shooting, I kept being like, okay, I guess we need more blood here. And I was like, oh no, we need no blood here. We're not doing Nip Tuck, we're doing Glee. And it was sort of the difference was the tone is so different and the audience is kind of different, and so you do need to sort of shift.
But the show was born out of Nip Tuck, certainly. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but to do a show that dark and nihilistic, you kind of have to live it in some way. You have to be in it. And after 6, 7 seasons, I was like, enough. I wanted to do something really joyful and optimistic and life-affirming, and actively looked for that, and then read, Ian's script. So it was sort of it's the flip side, it's the opposite, it's the extreme opposite of it. It was designed, and I wanted to do it because I wanted to send something hopeful and joyful and out into the world. We say that every episode has somewhat of a happy ending and makes people feel good, and I think that's true. I really do.
Definitely. Jane, I'd love to talk to you about Olivia Newton-John, who I believe you refer to as ONJ.
ONJ.
Yeah. Yes. Your homegirl, ONJ. Yeah. I believe that's the next episode next week.
I think it is, yeah.
Chris Colfer said that he believes the two of you are going to make television history.
Oh,
no pressure.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No pressure.
No, I wear it proudly.
Okay. What can you tell us about that episode? Have you seen it?
I have not seen it. You guys have seen it, but I got to spend the day with Olivia Newton-John, and she's also in the last episode too. She's as wonderful as she is in your fantasies of Olivia Newton-John. She's just awesome, and I got to sing with her and dance with her, and we got to lock eyes and sing with each other. And they said, I remember at one point I was sitting in my chair and they said, and now you're going to do a take with Olivia where you sing to each other. And I was like, are you trying to make all of my dreams come true? Is that the point of this day? Because mission accomplished. It almost angered me. It's too much.
Every day, just hours of that. It's amazing. I love going to work.
What can you tell us about the tour? I mean, first of all, congratulations. They sold out in record time, and I'm sure a few people here will be calling as well. But you all now are wrapped with this season. What can you tell us about what the tour will be? Can you give us any hints of what to expect?
Well, the tour is, really a tribute to, I think, our fans and people who have been so supportive of the show from the beginning. We're going to go to Arizona for a little bit of a warm-up, and then we're playing in LA and Chicago and New York, and Radio City for, I think, 5 nights, something close to that. So it's for our fans. It's about our greatest hits. The numbers that we do are the ones, for the most part, that have been the best sellers that the fans have liked the most. And I think it's just a way for the cast to get out there and connect with the people who have really made us what we are. That's the idea behind it. It's really like a thank you. And hopefully, Fox has been so supportive of our show in every way, including the tour. And if it's successful, we would maybe like to take it out next break, because I think the thing about this show is it lives in so many different areas, and it's the music is just sort of taken off, which is shocking to me, because when we did the pilot, Dana Walden and Gary Newman and Jennifer Nicholson-Salke said, we should really talk about a record deal, and I said, why? I didn't think it could be what it had become. I didn't think as big as they did. So I don't know. I know that we're all sort of nervous and exhilarated and excited about it. I mean, we're just kind of figuring out what the big numbers are.
Well, obviously, Jane and ONJ have to be the grand finale, right? All right. So you all have met Obama and Oprah in the last month.
Yeah.
Do any of you, would you like to talk about what that was like, and was it a surreal experience for you on both accounts?
Amber should talk about
Yeah.
Amber?
I knew that I was singing the national anthem, but I didn't know till the day before that I was going to be singing it next to the first family on the White House balcony. And unfortunately there wasn't a bathroom near before I went out to sing. I was very, very nervous. But what an amazing experience that was for us to be on Oprah, and for us to meet the president, two of the most powerful people in this.
You sang.
You sang so well for having to pee that whole time.
Yeah. I mean, not just having to pee, period. I mean, not to sound biased, but it was the most patriotic song in the most patriotic place in the most flawless national anthem. Like, we were all right in front looking at her. I had her phone, and she's like, you were bouncing up and down.
All of them were
so
crying,
excited.
and I could not look at them. They were all crying. I couldn't look at them because I would have just broke. But when I got off of the stage, and I just ran to them, and I was just so grateful. Like, I was just hugging everybody, every executive from Fox and Ryan. I'm just like, thank you. Like, that's all I could say.
We did Oprah on Saturday and then the White House on Sunday. So from now on, for the rest of our lives, every other weekend is going to suck.
All downhill from here.
I mean, who's next? The Pope?
I remember when we were leaving, Dante was like, ooh, the crash is going to suck after this. It was the biggest high. Like, we were there, and like I remember looking at Ian. We were in the room before the first family came in for us to take a picture with them. And I was literally standing there like, oh my God. And I was literally doing that because I couldn't control myself. And Ian's like, oh, here he comes. Here he comes. And then as soon as we walked out of the gates, it's like, oh, this is terrible. Like, what do we do now? We have to go back to work tomorrow.
And the Oprah thing was great because she did what you wanted her to do, where it was Matthew Morrison.
We were waiting for that. We were so waiting for that.
Everybody.
But eventually, did come back and do Lady Gaga. So the Lady Gaga outfit.
Essentially, everybody asks us, like, how has Glee changed your life? They're looking for us to say, we get dinner, reservations at a restaurant. You get to do things that you would probably never do in your entire life, like play Radio City and meet the president and sing for him and, go on Oprah and have her say your name like that. It's absolutely ridiculous. But it's so wonderful that Glee is, it's such a tangible show to so many people. And the fact that we're so accessible, it gives us so many opportunities that we would never be able to do.
And I think that starting last summer, it's really what helped us bond more than I've seen in friends who have been on shows with their cast, because we've traveled the world together. We've done a United States press tour, an Australia press tour, all these things. And so we really completely are a family. People try to dig up dirt on us all the time, but
they get nothing.
If you didn't like what you were doing and doing this job and singing and dancing, our crew is dancing with us. There's all these things that are just, it's happy all of the time. And so it's you'd have to be a really cynical person to be down at work.
It really speaks to the power of television, though. I think there's no other medium in the world where, this is a group of underdogs, a story about underdogs, and believe me, we were there. Not everybody was cheering for this show to be a success. We can tell you some stories, but the fact that it found an audience and it could take off in this way, and we are able to tell stories week after week after week, is just such a rare opportunity.
I think I can attest to what an amazing time you all have doing the show, because I was on set as you were shooting the finale toward the end of the season. You've been working your butts off. There were dancers being injured. There was blood remover on set. You guys were exhausted and smiling through the whole thing. But I am curious about the physicality of it. I know, Leah, in one episode, I think some fans could see there was a bruise on your arm during Like a Virgin. I don't know. But I know, the Madonna episode was particularly physical for you all, and Lady Gaga. Can you just talk about...
Amber Riley has 3 toes left. We honestly, we really, it is very physical, and I think we are so honored to be doing what we're doing, and the fact that, we get to play these incredible dream roles that are so fun to play, but also we feel like we're doing a really important job here in telling some really important, stories and stuff. So that really pushes us through. So when Amber had 2 bloody toes the other day, we love what we do so much that we get up and we do it. And these things, they're not easy, but then when they're over, we look back and we go, oh my God, I can't believe we did that. What the heck is season 2 going to be like? I have no idea. But,
People are going to be losing arms.
but they're challenges, and there are so many things that I thought at the beginning of this process that I thought I could not do. That the writers have pushed me to do, that my fellow cast has pushed me, and that's why we're all growing and learning from one another. And you see that on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
You see, that push and the energy in us. You see the glee in us, and that's why I think it exudes onto the screen.
And these guys will never bail on a number. I mean, in the first episode back, Leah had a stomach virus.
Right.
We were shooting the big finale number, and she would do the whole number, run off the stage and puke, come right back ready for the next number. She's like, okay, I feel okay now.
That she gave to everybody else, by the way.
I gave it to you.
Yeah, I was sick the next day.
And the next day, I was next to both of them.
Yeah, but she was out there doing it. They never give up.
You are closing out your first year, your first season wrap today, so congratulations. I think we should give them a hand for that. Because this is a high school, I thought it might be fun to go down the list and see if we were to put together a Glee yearbook of your first year, who would get the following honors.
Oh.
Most infectious laugh.
Jenna.
Life of the party.
Ian. You saw his dance. On the way.
Shirt's coming off in like 30 seconds.
Most likely to fall asleep during class or rehearsal.
Amber.
You can fall asleep anywhere.
I'm surprised you're still awake.
Hibernate.
Anyway. That's interesting. I thought it was going to be Jane because, Corey, I saw you snapped a photo of
snapped a photo of me taking